Welcome back. I have actually been doing a bit in here, but I couldn't find the camera. I had a big tidy up in the tool store and the rest of the garage from last time, and I can't remember where I put the camera, so rather than just waste lots of time, I've just been getting on with stuff. So what I do, I can't remember where we are with the videos, so I'll just show you bits I've done and bits I've got to do. I'm not going to put the camera on and just let it roll. There's a couple of reasons. I'm embarrassed a little bit about my welding, just how I get there. I do get there with it, but yeah, I'm not overly confident with the welding, and so yeah, what I do, I'll just do some bits, show you what I've done. You don't want to see me welding all day long anyway, do you? And then yeah, I'll just keep doing some bits, showing you, and just showing you the progress really. So I'll show you what I've been getting up to at the moment, or recently. So obviously I did the lip, bottom section of the boot and lip yesterday. It was a bit tight, so you couldn't really see much of what I'd done. Still need to clean up a little bit, but especially in here, as I need to weld that properly. Couldn't quite get to it easily enough. This side's a lot better. So yeah, that's on, which is good. Obviously battery box in, and then yeah, I've got a bit of jiggery pokery just to get things to line up properly, but generally it's okay. Everything seems to work out all right. The length of the floor and the boot floor worked out. I didn't do these bits in the end. I just cut the lips off of them because I needed the shell on the floor just to make sure I had the correct position of these bits and so on, because I had nothing to work to. So I'll cut these sections out later. It's the same on this side. I'll just cut the lips off. You can see the difference of, I just literally cut the lip off of that. So someone has done a repair here and squashed the floor up to meet what should have been there. So I just couldn't get the right picture of what I needed to do with it upside down, so I shall do them later. So yeah, that is everything seems to be okay on these sections. Obviously just needs tapping back. I've pre-punched these with my little new little punching tool. Lots of bits to sort of weld in, plug weld. The bench, bottom part of the bench seat, and the two sides. I haven't fully spot welded the seat to the heel board yet, so I've still got to do that. And then I can then put some spot welds and stuff through the wheel arch sections, and then I can start taking off other panels then, probably the rear quarters first, and then probably the front end. So yeah, that is it for now. It's on the floor and I'm happy, so yeah, all good. Obviously the shell is on the floor, and as one shish said in some of the recent videos that have gone up, I should have really put the boot floor on afterwards, because it was such a faff getting the shell on, because obviously this front section of the shell needs to go under the floor. So you live and learn, but anyway, it's on. Pretty much everything lines up, which is good. So what have I been doing? So I've still got lots to do. The first thing I did was welded the rear seat to the boot floor. I actually changed my welding wire to 0.6 from 0.8, and I forgot to adjust the settings properly. So this awful welding, plug welding, is before I changed the settings, and then obviously once I changed the settings, it got better. So obviously it's still a learning curve for me. So that's welded in. I've still got to weld these bits either side. I've still got to weld the door bins to the floor. And then I got these closing panels welded to the wheel arch. They were obviously on the floor, boot floor, before I put the shell on top. I've spot welded. I spot welded these parts, but because of the way the rear frame goes on the jig, I couldn't get to these parts. So I obviously spot welded that and the other side, clamped all the back up, and I've had to lift it up. I've had to take the rear part of the jig off, lift it up, just so I can get these spot welded on. I think previous to putting the shell on the floor, I'd obviously done this repair section here. The welding's fine, just needs a bit of this and that here and there on that, but it's okay. And like I say, I've plug welded this closing panel to the arch, spot welded this, and like I said, I had to take this part of the frame off the jig. So that's all welded in position. Everything's fine and everything works out. What I did find was these sections here, one, they weren't long enough. They were kind of up at this point, and where I've cut the inner bracket out that welds to the wheel arch and is part of the subframe mounting point, it was really thin here. There wasn't enough there, so I've just had to cut a section out of here and weld it back in. It's yes, it's not amazing, but it's still very thin metal there, so I will just have to skim that with a bit of filler. I don't want to keep grinding that because it's going to make this part thinner. So yeah, I know it don't look amazing, but just a little skim of filler on that, and it'll all be Gravitex anyway, stone chipped anyway. So I'll use these holes in this to fix the new bracket on once I'm done. So yeah, so same as the other side. When we were cutting these inner brackets out, I cut through this part here, but it's still very thin. There's not enough lip here to spot weld that on, and it's very crusty. So I'm just going to cut another section out of there and weld that in. And then what I'm probably going to do is get these closing panels on, line up the rear valance, and get these welded on properly, so they're in the right positions, because I can spot weld them with my big arms. I can spot weld them through here, and then that's pretty much those set in position. I can put the rear part of the frame of the jig back on, bolt it all back up again, and then I can start playing with other bits. The there's still loads to do, loads and loads to do. The more I'm sort of cutting bits out, the more I'm finding little pieces. And oh yeah, the other thing I've got to do, once I only put a few spot welds on the bottom here, to the rear heel board, so I've still got to spot weld that on fully. And then that's pretty much, that'll be most of the rear end done, apart from the valance, I think. And then I've got rear quarters I'm going to do. I don't know whether I said in the previous video, it's not so bad here, it's all crusty down the bottom. But I didn't want to put a repair section in because they're completely flat. And even the Magnum quarters that Keith was going to give me, they were also flat, whereas the Heritage ones have actually got a slight curve to them, like these do. So they're the rear quarters. I mean, this side is really bad. I don't know what they did there. There's a hole there, there's holes all here. They haven't put a repair section in there. I just don't know what they've done, but it's a bit dodgy down here. So I'm just going to put the rear quarters in. And then it's then round. So I've still got a plug weld the toe board to the floor, and I've got some repair sections to do in both of these corners, which I've got pre-cut somewhere. So then I mean, when you look at that inner seal is where that needs to be, but when you look at the doorstep that someone's fitted, you know, it's I don't know what they were thinking, to be honest. It's awful. So I'm seriously toying with the idea of doing the whole aperture for the door frame. I've got to take this part, obviously the quarter, off anyway, and yeah, I've got a funny feeling there's rust behind here, so I want to get all of this structurally sound, but I am mindful that I don't want to just replace every panel. I know it seems I'm possibly doing that, but it will have all the inner framework as original, and yeah, I just, you know, I'm trying to keep what I can, but it's difficult when it's been bodged up before, and I can just, the more I look at it, I can see more and more holes in places, you know. So, you know, scuttle, you know, the rest of the scuttle is fine apart from these areas here, but what's inside there, this is what worries me. On this side, actually, with the door aperture, I've got a hole up there. I've got oh no, that's not a hole, that's grease. So yeah, and this side, you know, instead of doorstep, I've got rust behind the rear quarter there, and it's manky here. Part of this, it's got a little hole or a few holes there, so I'm guaranteeing there's a bit of rust behind there. So that's where I'm at, and so yeah, I'm just going to get on with stuff. Like I say, this is the next bit I'm going to get on with. I actually had a wheel arch that I've cut up before, so I've just cut a section off of that. I don't actually need these parts because I'm going to put a cut down here and down here and just piece that section in and weld it in. So the shape is there for that. I just don't, it's a little bit further up than I wanted it to be, so these tabs here are actually bigger than I need them, so I'll just cut there and just piece that bit in. So yeah, that's where we are. and I'll show you that once I've done. Right, back again. So, repair section done. Again, it's not amazing, but bit of fine feel, be fine. So that's that done. I've just got a couple of welds in here. I've put weld-through primer on this, and I haven't done that one, and the plates underneath here. So I've spot welded them on. You can see that or not. Just going to spray that with weld-through primer, and then I'll just put weld-through primer on these bits and just drilled out for plug welding. I will probably spot weld as well. So the next bit will be get all those on, get the valance on and lined up, and then I'll take the valance back off and just get all that spot welded and plug welded on. I'll show you that shortly. Right, so that's all repaired in there. Like I say, it needs a bit of a skim and filler. I've spot welded all that on through there. Obviously the closing panels are on. Same on that side. All welded in. So then, oh yeah, I've got these on as well. It's another job done. So next job in the boot, I've got to put the tank supports on. I've actually got to drill this one so I can I don't know whether to spot weld that or plug weld it. This one's from M Machine and the other one's a Heritage one. The M Machine one has got spot weld holes already drilled in it, so I'll probably do the same on that one because that's not drilled. So then that'll be that. I'm not putting the valance on yet, just because I want to do a bit of prep work to it before I put it on. And just because some of it you can't actually get to when you're spraying, so I do, and like the back of the tank, the back of the wheel well here, I just want to probably give that a bit of, I don't know, I do have some of this colour in a spray can, so I don't know quite what I'm going to do yet, but I do want to get it prepped because it's always a pain to get that fully once the valance goes on when you're spraying. So right, so next job, so next job is obviously to put the tank supports on, the backboard supports, which I've just got to prep them up. And then something else I noticed was in the new floor, where the battery strap and earth strap goes here, there's actually these little funny bracket things with the bolts already in them, and there's also them for the tank straps, which I've just taken out. I've cut through them when I cut part of the boot floor out. So these two are for the tank straps. They're a bit short, so what I'm going to have to do, and this one's a bit manky, so a bit rusty on the inside, so what I'm actually going to do is just try and manufacture some of them, a bit of steel that I've got, steel plate. So yeah, I'll get on them, get them prepared, get all this prepared and lined up, and then I'll probably film doing a bit of plug welding, and then that should be the back end done. I'm in two minds whether to actually spot weld these two sections together yet. I'll have a think about that. I suppose there's no reason I can't spot weld them. Obviously that needs cleaning up. Spot weld it on, I suppose, and then just clean it up again when I put the valance on this. Yeah, I'll have a think about that. So that's the next job.